Hey, good morning and welcome to the UroPatient podcast. I'm your host, Vic Senese. Glad to have you on board. If you're watching us live, you can watch us on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, what am I forgetting? YouTube and Kick. All of those are coming to you live at the same time every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. If this is your first time checking us out, be sure to go to our website at UroPatient.com, the best place to learn more about us. That's the best place to see more information and all of our past episodes. Boy, we got a bunch of them. So check out all of those past episodes for something you might have missed. Also, we've got these helpful information handouts that I put together. You can go there free of charge. Just copy them and take them with you to your doctor's appointment or just have them as a reference. They're yours. Go ahead and get those. Hey, we've got a great episode for you today. Be sure to always join us every week. And here we go. So today we'll be discussing a very common question, one that I've gotten a few comments about. So I thought it'd be a good time to address this question. Can you shower with a catheter? This topic has caused a lot of confusion and even worry for patients. By the end of the session, you'll know what's safe, what to avoid, and how to care for your catheter properly. So let's start with the types of catheters. Most patients are familiar with the Foley catheter that we see up there, right over there, which stays in the bladder, goes in through your urethra. Now, the second one that you may also have is something called a suprapubic catheter, which is like this one over here. Now, suprapubic catheters go directly into the bladder through the abdomen. And then, just to be complete, there's something called an external catheter, which is mostly used by men. We're not going to talk about that because that can be removed easily to take and shower with. And the other was the intermittent catheter, where you only catheterize yourself when you need. And we've talked about that in previous episodes. Again, that's not going to really affect showering. The two that we're going to really talk about are the Foley catheter and the suprapubic that we see in the picture here. So the type of catheter you have does affect how you manage showering. Now, the question I hear over and over is showering safe? The good news is absolutely yes. Now, I got the big no next to the tub bath, and there's a good reason for that. In most cases, patients with a catheter can safely shower, but bathing in a tub is discouraged because bacteria in the water can actually travel up the catheter and cause infections. That would include things like hot tubs or swimming pools or lakes, especially, anything like that. Showers are actually a good way, though, to maintain cleanliness around the catheter site. So it's really a good idea to do. So what do you need to do? Well, before showering, wash your hands to prevent infection. Check your catheter tubing isn't kinked or pulling too tightly, and secure your drainage bag so it doesn't dangle or tug on the catheter while you move around. Now, let me just show you. That's why I wore the black shirt here today. So this is our typical catheter bag and our catheter, which is inside you. So if you empty the bag, if it's got cloth straps like most of them do, take those straps off and just let it hang, just like that, while you're in your shower. If it's empty, it's not going to have a lot of pull. You could also put a piece of tape if you had extension tubing. Again, we talked about that in a different one, but there's no extension tubing here, so not much to tape on. You could probably tape the bag to your leg if you want it, if you're worried about it. But if you're careful, I don't see a big problem. Now, while you're showering, you want to use a gentle soap and warm water. Avoid harsh scrubbing, but you want to pay attention to washing around the catheter entry site. So now that's, if this was my urethra, that's right here. You want to keep that area clean because sometimes stuff can build up on it and it can almost get like sandpaper that can irritate the urethra. So keep that clean. Now, even if it's in the abdomen like the suprapubic we showed, same thing. Keep that area clean. Don't pull or tug on the tubing, and make sure you rinse well so no soap residue remains. Now, I'm going to talk to you about something else while I've got this here, is some of the bags, now this particular one doesn't have it, but some actually have a cloth type backing on it. Now, if the cloth gets wet, it's going to stay wet. So you really can't just go in and take your shower and not have to worry about it unless you got this kind of bag. But if you don't, if you happen to have a cloth one, you're going to have to disconnect it. Now, whether you've got a different bag or not, I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do. So let me go through that disconnection thing. Pretty easy to do. You just kind of give it a little twist and it pulls off. So now this is the part we're talking about, the catheter. It won't come out of you just by disconnecting it, so don't worry about that. Now, a couple of solutions that you can try. Most of the time, there's a cap that can sometimes be found on the end of these bags. If you happen to have one that does have a cap, great. You can clean that off with a little alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and a cotton swab, and you can force that into the end of your catheter and use it as a catheter plug. Pretty simple. And just leave it like that. Take your shower. When you're done, pop that off and go ahead and reconnect it like that. Now, they do sell catheter plugs designed just for this purpose. And that's one of these things right here. So you can get a catheter plug itself and actually put that in there. And that'll block it off too. Now, here comes the controversial part. So what if you don't have a catheter plug and you don't have an extra plug or anything? Can you just leave it like this and just let it just kind of hang in the shower uncovered? Well, I did some research because I've had this question to see what the evidence out there is, because we try to do everything evidence-based. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of good evidence. There's been no real studies to see whether you can leave it hanging loose as far as will it increase your risk of infection. Now, when there isn't good evidence, often what we do is rely on our good judgment. And I can tell you that if you're taking a shower and this is hanging in the shower, it's going to drip urine, but I mean, it's not any great amount that's going to come through during the time of a shower. The chance of anything going backwards into the tube is probably pretty slim. So personally, I don't think that it's a big deal to just let it be open like that and take your shower and just hook it back up to your bag. Again, you want to clean hands and everything, and alcohol swab, so that's kept clean, all that good stuff. But my personal judgment is that you should be able to do that. Now, that's my judgment. You can check with your healthcare worker and see what their thought is. But is there any good research to support that? Unfortunately, no. And I've got to be the first one to admit it. So to follow the best guidelines, if you can keep your catheter connected like I talked about, or use a cap, that's your best bet. If you can't, you may consider just trying my method that I told you about with the okay from your provider. Now, here's some things that you need to avoid, though. Never soak in a bathtub, swimming pool, hot tub, wearing a catheter. That's a risk of infection. And avoid things like scented soaps, lotions, or powders near the catheter site. Those things that can have irritants to them. And of course, avoid tugging or twisting the catheter. Kind of common sense. Now, after your shower, just pat the catheter site dry with a clean towel. Don't rub. Again, your bag, if you kept your bag on, dry it off. You don't want to have that wetness against your leg. You can get a rash from that. Keep the area around the insertion site dry. But don't use things like a blow dryer to speed up the drying process. Again, you might have too much heat and you could cause an irritation or burn to the skin. Now, for those, special with the suprapubic tube, as I show here, you'll want to clean carefully around the abdominal entry site. Check daily for redness, swelling, or unusual drainage. If your healthcare team recommends a dressing, replace it with a sterile one after showering. We kind of see them using a Q-tip type thing that's kind of a way to clean around it, or a sterile gauze pad that's wet. That works out really good. It's important to know when to call your doctor. If you notice redness, swelling, pain, fever, or chills, these all may be red flags for a sign of infection. Also, cloudy or foul-smelling urine is a red flag. If your catheter leaks or falls out, always let your doctor know right away. So, in summary, showering with a catheter, yep, it's safe and actually encouraged. Avoid baths, hot tubs, or pools. Clean gently with soap and water, and always watch for warning signs of infection. With good care, you can shower safely and comfortably. Hopefully that helps everybody out, and we'll see you next week.